Hey, beautiful people of the world. I wanted to share with you guys a dream that I had. I had it about, just taking my shoes off, sorry. I had it about, I'd say 3 weeks ago. So it was quite intense. It was actually the most intense dream I've had in a very long time, and I thought I would just share it to see if anyone else has had a similar dream, or if anyone else has been having really intense dreams that they believe might actually mean something. This dream that I had stayed with me for about 2 days. Like, I was quite moved by it. I was quite affected by it. And I tried to just sit with it. And then I also took some time to research the potential meaning of what the symbols might have meant in my dream. I kind of went down that route and I kind of put something together, but then I left that and I just kept going on with my normal day life, and I was speaking to a friend about the dream, and then I actually felt a second meaning come through, and I actually felt that meaning was more correct, but ultimately I actually don't know the meaning of the dream. So if you know the meaning of this dream, or if you know the symbols or anything like that, please leave that in the comments. I would love to know. So let's get into the actual dream itself. So it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got up to get some painkillers. I was in a lot of pain. So I had period cramps. So I woke up, took some Panadol, got a hot water bottle, and I was just up. And I must have fallen asleep. And then straight away, I was face down, and I could not lift my head. This is in the dream. So I was face down, I was lying down, my arms, my side completely flat on the ground, and I knew that I was at the beach. I was at a beach. It was a very long beach. It was almost like a cove, and it reminded me of a beach that could potentially be in Esperance. But so if anyone doesn't know Esperance, it's really flat, kind of compact sand, very white and very long, and the ocean there is very pure. So I was face down on the sand, and my brother was on the right hand side of me. My sister was on the left hand side of me. Or no, my brother was on the left hand side of me. My sister was on the right hand side of me, and they were talking. They were just talking amongst themselves, and I was basically paralyzed. I couldn't actually move my head, and it's weird because even though I couldn't lift my head, I could get a sense of what was going on around me. Like, I knew that was my sister, I knew that was my brother, and I knew that we were at the beach. Anyway, this really, really long beach, and it was just us and this father and his daughter. And then I can hear the father and the daughter, the little girl going, look up there. And the dad was like, wow, look at that rainbow. And then my brother and sister were talking about this rainbow. And I'm going, I want to see this. I really, really want to have a look at it. So with every single part of my willpower and might, I was trying to lift my head up. And it was so hard, but I eventually got there. It was really straining. And I finally was able to look up. Still not being able to move my arms or my body, but I got my head up and I looked up into the sky, and there was a hole in the sky, and it wasn't a black hole, it was an opening in the sky. So everything was kind of the same colour. The sky was the same colour as the ocean was the same colour as the sand. Everything kind of blended in, but you knew that was the sand, that was the ocean, that was the sky. So the colours were really light grey, white, very, very light blue, and it was very reflective. So as a whole, it was quite bright. It was just quite light with those colours, with those shades. And so I've finally been able to look up, and my sister's looking at it, my brother's looking at it, this father and this little girl, we're all fixated on looking at this hole in the sky. It was a small hole in the sky, and out of that hole was coming water. It was like very thin, it was like sprinkling, a sprinkle of water, really light rain out of the hole. And then underneath the sprinkling was this rainbow, and it was a little rainbow, like a little whole complete rainbow. It was really cute. It was just, but you'd never seen anything like that, and it came out of nowhere. It was just like, it was there, and we were all looking at it, and we're all kind of like fixated on this. And I just kept thinking, I've never seen anything like this. And even though I'm seeing it, it was a part of nature, but it just seemed so odd, like I'd never seen anything like this, and we're all looking at it. So then, in a split second, it disappears, bang. And then before I could even process that had disappeared, this absolutely ginormous hole became in the sky, and it was absolutely huge. It was almost, it's like the sky had opened up. Like, it was so frightening. And this was all in a second, like a millisecond. And again, it was the same hole, so it wasn't black or anything, it was the same colour, but it was an opening in the sky, but this time it was engulfed the entire sky. And then water comes gushing out of this hole, and not sprinkles, I'm talking a flood of water. Like, man, the most water I've ever seen. I couldn't even, before I had this dream, I couldn't actually comprehend that much water. It was massive. And the sound was extremely loud. And the sound was frightening. The entire thing was absolutely frightening. And all I remember, well, not all that I remember, but what I remember strongly is mustering the strength to just move my hands and to hold onto my siblings' shirts. I was just like that. Because I knew the understanding in my body and in this state was, I'm not going to survive this. This is a wipeout. This is a wipeout. This was the force of nature. This was like the biggest force of nature I've ever experienced in a dream or even thought of. And it felt like God. It felt like it was God. But it was really, really scary. But at the same time, it was natural. So it wasn't like evil. It was great. It was massive. It was monumental. And so when that huge hole came and that massive flood came out of the sky, the sound that it made was deafening. It was like, it was just, can't really explain it other than it was just the loudest sound I'd ever heard. And everything, like in a second, turned really like misty and grey, but like wet and misty and grey, and it was this huge wall of what I thought for a second was like trillions and trillions of birds flying towards us. But it was actually this surge of water, but it wasn't a wall of water. It was like the water from hitting the ocean, and everything was just engulfed with this sound, with this water, with this thing, and it was coming towards us. And it was a case of, we didn't even have a second to even think or anything. It was like, wow, no one's going to survive from this. So I was petrified. And then I woke up and it was 3 o'clock. And I was so petrified that when I woke up, I still couldn't move. Like I could not move my body or my head or anything for a while, and I just had to focus on my breathing. It was just like, just breathing and like praying to Jesus, like, okay, I'm safe, that was just a dream, I'm safe, that was just a dream. So that was my dream, party people. Pretty intense. I don't know if it sounds too intense when I relay the actual dream, but experiencing the dream was really full on, and like I said, it actually stayed with me for about 2 days. Like I was quite, like it was big. So I looked up the symbols. I tried to break the dream down and looked up, what it was to be laying down on the floor, what it was to not being able to move. And that stuff kind of, according to dream symbols, is actually being like confronting all the stuff that scares you about you in yourself and in your like emotional life. And at that time I was really going into like family issues and like my like emotional understanding with, where I stand. And I've been doing introspective work. So that kind of matched up. I was like, oh, okay. And the little rainbows is of hope, and the water is like intense emotion. So I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, it kind of makes sense. Like it made sense to where I was at, like, but it didn't match up with how I felt. And then I was speaking to my friend on the phone about it, and I was like, Mel, I got to tell you about this dream. Like it was hardcore. It was so intense. So as I'm telling Mel the dream, I was walking, I was outside, and as I was telling her about the dream and about the rainbows, I kept seeing these little rainbows, with, we're all in this together, COVID. And I'm going, oh, that's interesting. And we had just been speaking about the coronavirus and how it came out of nowhere, and how, a lot of people feel like this is a time that God is bringing on the earth for us to like retreat, like go in, do the work, turn ourselves back to Him and everything like that. So we were already kind of having that conversation beforehand. And then I'm like, oh, I have to tell you my dream. So as I was telling her, I was kind of going, wait, the little hole in the sky came out of nowhere. We'd never seen anything like that. This is in the dream. Well, the COVID came out of nowhere. We'd never seen anything like that. Then there was that small little rainbow underneath, which I felt was like, that's humanity coming together and saying, we're all in this together, it's okay. So, and everyone on the beach was looking up and we were just fixated on this thing. But then where I go, oh, I don't know what this bit means, but then the huge hole and the huge mass of water, I'm wondering, is that God's great cleanse? Is that actually what's happening here? Or does that mean something is coming? I don't know. But I was just like, holy dolly, that's intense. I don't really know what to do about it. So I've kind of felt through it, and it was about about 4 weeks ago. It was actually about 4 weeks ago. So yeah, there you go, guys. Just wanted to share that with you. And if you have any insight to what you think that might mean, or has anyone had a similar dream, please let me know. I'd be really interested to hear about it. All right, that's me done for today. Hope you guys will enjoy your day wherever you are. Big love from Perth, WA.